everybody needs to understand, especially the young guys entering into the entrepreneurial side. Uh, Change is the only constant thing that has to be seeded in their mind, and the only way to move ahead with that change is constant learning. You need to keep on upskilling yourself, and you need to be ready to adopt that particular change.
I I personally don't like calling artificial intelligence because I don't feel that intelligence can be artificial. Actionable intelligence is what can be derived at the end of the day using. And my take is that people should focus, enterprises in Africa, in the entire global south, should be focusing on developing their own models, their own local AI solutions, training using using the models, by training the models on their data.
Hello, viewers. This is Ananya Pal, founder and CEO of Startup Shujaa. And I welcome you all in our series Roundtable with Industry Experts. As I mentioned in our earlier episode of Roundtable with Industry Experts, that we bring experts from a different segment of the industries like marketing, investment, technology, etc. And we bring together a very meaningful discussion for startup entrepreneurs to get enriched for various aspects of startup projects. Our today's topic is tech-related startup projects, and we will discuss the various aspects of it with 3 industry experts. I will introduce my speakers one by one. I'll start with Mr. Arun Nair. He is a technocrat with 20 years of experience as an IT professional in corporates. And then he became an entrepreneur. And he is a co-founder of White Clay Technology, which is a Singapore-based innovation in data analytics and governance. And also he has co-founded Cotilia Holdings, which is to empower the youth in technology and startups. So welcome, Arun, in our roundtable. And next is Mr. Aalok Yakhmi. He is a very accomplished IT professional. Currently, he is working with KPMG Africa, and he handles ERP implementation in KPMG for the customers. Welcome, Aalok. And our third speaker is Mr. Amir Parpia. He is a man of numbers. He is a chartered accountant from India, and he has an illustrious career for almost 3 decades in finance. And currently, he is the group CFO of Paramount Bank Limited. Welcome, Amir, in this roundtable. And as we have a very interesting ensemble of an entrepreneur, a corporate professional from IT, and also a man of numbers who is also in banking industry. So he sits on the other side of the table. So we will have a conversation, and today's topic as we is tech startup projects, and we'll discuss about various factors that that the founders should keep in mind while projecting their startup in front of the investors, and also while developing that also. So I'll come to Arun, you first. So you are also a startup entrepreneur. Of course, your project has gone very big now. But as a founder, what would be your advice to our tech startup entrepreneurs? What are the factors that they should keep in mind while developing their project and then bringing it for pitch?
Well, first of all, thanks a lot for organizing this and bringing me here to speak to the vibrant young community and a budding startup ecosystem. And like you rightly said, the most important thing and for any founder is to believe in the idea Um, of course, there will be always points where you will feel like, things are not working out, things are falling apart, but that's all part of the process. Having faith in the idea, having belief in the idea is very important. Working with people who believe in your idea is even more important. That's, I think, is very underrated, because people feel like one idea can change one idea can change the whole world. There are a lot of beautiful ideas out here, uh, which, there are a lot of people who are trying to solve a lot of problems, but uh, we need to be very focused in terms of what you have. Don't try to boil the ocean. Try take one step at a time. Have faith in yourself. Believe in a team that can work with you. Try to keep people who criticize you closer. It's very important. Don't try to chase numbers from the word go. Try to set your product framework or problem that you're trying to solve. That framework, try to put that into good perspective. Build on a strong foundation, and then you will see that things will automatically start falling in place. So that's what has worked for us. Perseverance is very key. It's not a very glamorous world as it is made to be believed in certain part of the world. There are many stories which have never come out of the trenches, but very powerful and beautiful ideas, but never made it out of trenches, for the reason that they went in too soon into chasing numbers, looking for financial investors. All those things are fine and they need to be there at some point in time. However, what is more important is to take that first step and make sure that the initial the minimum viable product, that we call it MVP, is always tried and tested, and once that is established, then everything else can be an add-on. So believe in yourself. I'll say to all the youngsters who are listening to this, don't give up. And I'll say that stay focused with respect to the problem that you're solving. Don't try to uh, take the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Okay, so as you were mentioning that the focus should be exactly on your particular idea and developing it gradually, rather than thinking of a over optimistic way of breaking even too soon or things like that. And that is very important, because a lean start always is safer. And Another thing that you said, I also personally feel is very important, is the teamwork. I mean, building your team is as important as developing the project. So unless your team believes in you, then you really cannot execute it. Whatever good idea you have, you can't execute it that well. Yeah, so that's really interesting, and coming it from you, it is important. And for our startup entrepreneurs, especially now, a lot of tech related startups are coming, because we cannot live without tech. That's the thing. So, and as you were saying that don't try to boil the ocean. Yes, we are the any startup entrepreneur is always very passionate about the idea they come with. And sometimes it becomes you become little biased about your own ideas and projects, so you cannot really criticize it yourself. So as you were saying that those who are giving you feedback or criticizing it, keep them closer. This is also very important. Our viewers should take a note of it, that take all these criticisms in a positive way, so that you can really judge your own product. Because sometimes because we are too passionate, we fail to see the downside of it, or maybe is some areas where we should work on before we finally bring it into light. So that's really important. So in that context only, I'll come to you, Alok, because you are a mentor of Startup Shujaa as well. And you mentor from that IT side, and we got a few tech project also. You were of a great guidance to them. So as he's saying, Arun is saying that the ideas, you have to really judge the ideas, and you also focus on that. I've seen that in our rounds with the tech projects. So what are the areas you would want the founders of tech projects to focus on?
Certainly. Before I start, Ananya, thank you so much for inviting me for this wonderful podcast. I would really appreciate, and I would like to share my ideas and thoughts over an experience from last 17 years in an IT industry, and reaching across youngsters through the campus interviews or universities I have been to. So some of the ideas what we always put forward, or whenever these young entrepreneurs are being coming across, few things we really focus, or we talk about, is first of all, understand who is going to, what is your team, right? What team you are being founding upon, and are they experienced enough, are they passionate enough, are they knowing what is our vision? So because one person cannot found an entire empire, so that's very important. The second important thing is into that is, what is the product or the technology you are going to put it forward? Is it really adaptable in the market? Is it something obsolete, or what is the adoption rate, or what would happen to that? So that analysis and research is very important before they launch anything. And the third most important thing I would really put it forward is, when you start any of the business, what is the model? What would be the revenue model towards that? Uh, are you looking anything that would be coming? No, because it also, for the first period of time, it requires an heavy investment. So if any of the investor is been investing money, he would be looking as a return. So what is your revenue model towards that? What is the profit that is going to come across, and what is the period of time you are being putting it forward? These are certain things I feel it is very important for any of the young entrepreneurs they have been getting into the business, because when they have done the analysis of all this, then they can really put forward and get in better investments. So that would be some of my ideas to put it forward, and the interaction what I have done in past with some of the young guys.
Yeah, what you're saying, I can absolutely relate to it. That basically, the founders in tech projects, in most of the cases, founders are from tech background, but they should have a realistic ideas, and that is some way resonating with what Arun said also, that you should be realistic. And the revenue model is very, very important. Even I being an accountant, I also feel that, and I'm sure Amir will also agree with me that. Ultimately, how and when the money is getting in, that is very important. So thank you for highlighting that area. And you both said one thing, that is team building is very, very important.
Yeah.
Because no one can make a project successful without having a good team, and the team must believe in your ideas. And there also another check comes automatically, that if you create that environment where the team can actually come to you and give feedback, and you take it positively, then there is always a cross check, that if there was any fault in your idea, they will come and highlight it to you. So they are kind of, you get validated. If you have a team and that kind of a friendly environment where the team can actually be open about it, and then only they can probably relate to the project, and they will give their 100% to it. So on that note, I will come to you, Amir. You are a man of numbers, and you sit on the other side of the table. So when these startup projects, tech-related startup projects, they come to you, say in the banks. So what are the things that you see? Because not necessarily all the investors are tech savvy, not necessarily, and different kind of tech products come in the market nowadays. The different ideas come for us, who are you and me. We are people of numbers. So for us, maybe we have reasonable idea about technology, but not as much as these two tech people. So when these projects come to you, so what are the factors you concentrate on?
Morning, guys. Thanks, Ananya, for inviting me. As they have given the acknowledgement, but as a matter of thanks, I think so what you're doing a job is splendid. I think so, not only for youngsters, but everybody who wants to move to the next level. So you're doing a great job. All the best. I've been sitting, as you said, I'm just short of 3 decades experience. So I've sat on 11 sectors. I've done across 11 sectors. So I understand each sector has a potential of growing tech wise or upskilling wise. So since I'm sitting, as you said, the other side of the table, normally the Kenyan banks, right? They are mainly on the risk averse method, right? Because of the local regulatory bodies, right? Because they want to ensure the deposits are not, the deposit are not being having a challenge there, right? But I do agree there's a issue for getting a finance from banks, from finance bank, commercial banks. And I resonate what Arun said and Aalok said, keep your revenues actual, achievable, right? So if you go up the things, don't think you can make $1 million. I'm just putting numbers in a year. Say I'll make $1,000 in a year. And once you start it, we'll see how it happens. So when we see the figure wise, right, as a bank, as any finance institution, or even as impact lenders or venture capitalists, right?
Yes.
They'll see, okay, it has something. You can't make $1 million. And we have seen 99% of the startups has collapsed because they don't have a good team. I resonate, right? Figures are not right.
Yeah.
And non-bank banks, if you see, they need some tangible assets to collateral because as per the regulations, without assets we can't do it, right? Or a bit of creative history or some personal, some things tangible. So we should, if something goes wrong, okay, we have some recourse. I'm not saying all the banks do the same because obviously there's a negotiation. So I do understand that there's a challenge, but I think so. What I resonate again with them, if they want things to happen in Kenyan context, they should be more practical, realistic, and on the ground. Because as a mentor, I mentor people on the other sides of the things, and I've seen people just come with fancy figures. And when you see numbers, guys, okay,
The credibility goes down there only.
it goes there.
Absolutely.
Because the thing is that, and there's a message to all the budding people, it's not achieving numbers, it's how you grow. Because everybody wants to make quick money or be rich. I said, be wealthy, right? It's not always a banking perspective, but if you have that notion, everybody will be part of you. And if you have the good team, if you have the right numbers, that will be done.
Yeah, so even while going through the pitch deck of our mentees also, that is one thing we also keep telling that be realistic about your numbers and only put those numbers which you have proper backup, proper calculation, proper supportings, so that it doesn't look phony to people, because at the moment it looks over optimistic or bit fake, the credibility will go down. Investor will never trust you.
Yeah.
So that is really one thing. And another aspect of technology projects, I would ask you, Arun, and then of course Alok, that is IT sector and technology is one area that is most volatile, because there is a fast change in every sector, but especially in case of IT, the change is, probably every moment there is some innovation happening. So how challenging is it for tech projects to stay relevant? And for that, probably you need constant innovation or constant update. What is your take on that?
Very interesting question, and I'm glad that you asked it, because what we see today is, problem solving side of things. If you look at it, it has got skewed. That's my opinion. It has got skewed to a few areas. Fintech is one area, retail is one area, FMCG is one area. Everybody is about QSR, about how to reach to the end user in quicker, faster. So a lot of similar ideas in a copy paste style. One is trying to do better than the other. The other is trying to do better than the previous one. So there's unwanted competition that is actually, and they're all target base is the same set of consumers.
Yeah.
And the same set of consumers are moving their loyalty from product A to product B just because they're getting more discounts or they're getting some freebies. And immediately it's moving to product C the moment product C comes into. So I don't want to name any products, and as part of this forum. I appreciate and I really respect all the ideas that are out there. But I think it's also time for some of these investors also to think in terms of how they are investing in the idea. Because partly I feel that there is a reason, there is enough reasons for companies who are investing into these youngsters should also think about the scale at which these companies can be taken to, because you can't beat the scale of a previous idea and be a challenger and see that you can change everything, on the word, from the word go, because it takes time and tech is expensive. People just don't understand this. When you bring on an idea, to scale it, to get it to the point where your competitor is, it's not easy. If you look at the competitor's journey and then you're trying to come in and beat them, you should understand that how much money, how much time, how much of infrastructure, all these things that they have invested in, it all counts. It is not like somebody just um, with the flick of a finger can just change things around. So somewhere I feel that this whole thing of replicating an idea which has worked in one market will work in another market is a very bad start as it is. We should try to promote ideas that solve local problems. I feel that everywhere it's more about solving, being resonating with the local challenges and trying to solve for those challenges, rather than trying to be like a provider who is giving ride hailing apps somewhere in some part of the world has become successful, so it will be a success over here, or a food delivery app that has been successful in Southeast Asia is going to be a rock star in Africa, a model like that. It might not resonate with the people and it might take time. So it is important to be sure about what you're trying to solve. Again, I'll come back to the problem solving methodology. You should really look into what problem are you solving, and that problem, how unique is that problem to that market that you are addressing. And that if that is figured out, then rest of the technology piece is very easy. It's really not very complicated. Tech piece is very easy. So people should actually look at it from that perspective, is what I strongly believe, which will make it more relatable. It will make it more realistic, and you can also draw down your revenue plans accordingly, because what a consumer in US can pay is not what a consumer in Africa can pay. I mean, we have to be realistic about it. So services comes at a price, so can afford what it needs to be understood. If our denominator is people in middle income group to low income group to middle income group, then we should target that. The technology that we are bringing in should be able to should be affordable to those, that category of people, not a high income group or a
Yeah, this is something that you are saying is really important, because that I also keep telling my mentees that first you decide who are your target customers. So, and what is their spending ability. So, based on that entire thing, your revenue model, your structure, everything should be like that. And as you are mentioning, Arun, that when we talk about tech, we think, okay, whatever is latest and whatever best should be in my project, but that may not be cost effective for my target customers, and especially in a developing country like Kenya. That is very, very important, because how many say a good ERP system. You have brought a good ERP, as Alok handles a lot of ERPs. So, but I mean, the consciousness among the SMEs, the middle and large, even the large enterprises, some of the large enterprises who are not tier one, a lot of them do not have a proper idea about ERP also, and that is why they are not ready to spend that much of money on a good ERP. So if the market is like that, there rather than bringing more and more, I mean, technology or the elements from more advanced countries, you won't be able to sell it in this market.
True, true.
Yeah.
So, Ananya, I would really like to extend on, you mentioned a very good point that, in technology world, things are changing quite dynamically. Now, and how new entrepreneurs should really look into this. Now, for me, the first important thing is everybody needs to understand, especially the young guys entering into the entrepreneurial side. Uh, Change is the only constant thing. That has to be seeded in their mind, and the only way to move ahead with that change is constant learning. You need to keep on upskilling yourself, and you need to be ready to adopt that particular change. I would like to bring a very good example here. um, if we go a little bit like a decade back, nobody ever thought BlackBerry can go out of the market. BlackBerry was one of the dominant in the market, right? Because they were been having the that QRT keyboard and all that. However, when the touch screen came, the things got completely changed. And because they did not adopted that, they went out of the market. So these are certain things all the entrepreneurs needs to understand, that we really need to look the market where it has been heading. What is our target customers, what we are really going to pitch for. And I would like to enhance on the point you touched upon, the ERP side. Now, see, we are been I deal with multiple ERPs, be it from the tier 1 to some of the open source ERPs as well. But there is a lot of difference that comes across. So when somebody is being, and in today's world, everything is going on cloud. Nobody wants to invest, make a heavy investment on the data centers and take that responsibility, unless it is very, uh, uh, strict data that has to be in house. It cannot go outside that particular room or that premises. Then it's a different story. But still, on cloud also, there is a lot of security that has been enabled. But the most important thing on the ERP side as well, if you would see all the tier 1 ERPs which is on cloud, they are coming with every upgrade in every 3 to 6 months, which means they are changing the model or the user interface, and they are upgrading it. So that is very important for anybody to understand that, okay, which means they are investing in what Arun has said. Somebody has to invest, right? So they are investing in the technology, and they are giving back to their customers. So that is something very important to understand, that technology is, yes, I agree, technology is not cheap, but people need to understand the value of it, and that is how it can move ahead.
Okay. So there has to be a right balance between, even I personally feel that change is, you have to adapt with the change that is coming. Otherwise, you can't stay relevant. To stay relevant, you have to adapt, and you have to be constantly updated. That is really important, and not only for tech, for anything, for any segment, it is important. For us also, it is important. Even as a finance professional, it is very important for me to stay updated every moment, what is going around, what changes are coming. It is very important, that as you were saying. But at the same time, we have to, as he is saying, what he said is from another perspective, which I get, because of my clients, I understand it, that there is a tendency, in especially in developing countries, to replicate someone's idea, someone's technology. That tendency is there, we cannot deny it, and that sometimes kills the market for the person who is replicating and the person whom he has replicated, both.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
If I can just add one more
Yes.
point on that, I mean, like, just came across, I mean, was just thinking aloud. if you look at the ride hailing app, what has happened, as global south, all countries, we are in the developing phase. Um, so climate change is a real thing that is happening. Everybody is, Davos every year, all these people meet and they talk big about how to solve the problem. Now, just have a simple idea like a ride hailing app. If you look at in the last 1 decade, the number of smaller vehicles that have sprawled, especially in the global south, in the name of providing this convenience to people. Now look at the way the idea was adopted. This is the problem, which I feel is caused because of copy paste, of replicating something that some worked somewhere. Now you assume that the same thing will work here. Instead of doing this sprawling this individual vehicles, the same idea could have been used to solve a public transport problem, which could
That would
have
have
been
enhanced the,
build up infrastructure.
which
and
would
also
have
the customer base would have been wider.
exactly, and you could have also brought in more people,
Yeah.
could have made the services more cheaper, more accessible, and you could have solved a bigger problem of public transport, which is actually a real problem that is existing in the entire global south countries. And where are we 10 years later? We are still adding on more and more vehicles in different kinds of ride hailing apps. The number of apps are sprawling, the number of vehicles are sprawling, the drivers are on multiple apps, the consumers are deciding. It has almost become like online auction these days,
Actually.
and the public transport is still in a state of total I'll say yes, despair, which could have been a completely different scenario had it been thought differently and applied differently. So this is what I'm saying. Sometimes investors also do not see this because they are in hurry to make sure that the idea replicates and the more and more people get adopted. More and it has become this thing of user subscribers.
You mean to say that investors look for a safer model? They feel that if a model has worked and someone replicates that model, then it is safer to invest in that replicated model because it is already tried and tested. Is it something like that?
Yes, I mean that is one way of thinking at it. But the other thing is that the people who are bringing this idea on the table, they are also not giving a fresh look at how to solve this problem or how we can look at solving a different problem using the similar template. So those fresh thought processes are not coming. I don't fully blame the investors. Of course, they have put their money, they want their returns, and there's nothing wrong in doing that. They're absolutely fair and square ask, in terms of if I'm putting in $100, how do I make $850 in a period of say 1 year or 2 years?
Doing charity.
Exactly. So, but then that fresh look of solving the problem should be also the onus of these people who are bringing these ideas onto the table, instead of just creating a copy paste kind of a thing, which is the safest way of convincing anyone.
Yeah, not going out of your comfort zone. And that is what Aalok is saying, that stay updated. So if you are updated, then fresh ideas come into your mind. You can really think of being innovative.
So, Ananya, I would just like to add, a small point towards what Arun has mentioned. See, and then it is very important again for all the young entrepreneurs to do a market study very well. Yes, that's very true that if something is been working somewhere very well, can it work in this market or in this region, like that? Because again, I'll give a very good example, and I would like to take an example from India, that in now in India we have started delivery of anything, be it the grocery, be it your luxury products, or a medicine, within 15 to 30 minutes. That is the threshold we have been talking about. Okay, now India has recently started delivering things through a drone. Now, if at all we have to talk about, making that particular thing happen here. Okay, one, what is the market size in order to adopt that? That's very important because a revenue model has to be there. People cannot just invest and get the money out of it. So that's one particular thing. And second, is there an infrastructure to support that? That market research is very important for somebody, whoever has been investing or whoever has been coming up with an idea. Okay, I want to do a delivery app or something of that sort. So a thorough market study has to be done in order to replicate any of the idea. Yes, some of the ideas work very well, but of a very successful somewhere can be a disaster somewhere else. So understanding your customer needs and the market size is very important, so that can bring a good revenue model and become a sustainable model. That's very important for me, and then it is important for any of the investor as well as the entrepreneurs who are getting into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you are highlighting is also a very valid point, that whether first of all the infrastructure will support that technology here. Another is the size of the market, because if the investment is heavy,
Yes.
then how you will recover. So Amir, when any project comes to the banks, as an investor, so, what are the angles from which you judge it? Like this kind of ideas, when it comes, say they give a reference of, or you see that similarity with something that has worked very well in some other continent or some other country, which is not really like ours. Economy is bit different. So, how do you?
So as I said, before, right, as a bankers, as a Kenyan bank, we follow certain regulation, which is more like we make sure the risk is, we have fairly good risk because to protect the depositors. So we would feel as a professionals, right, that is no need to say no. We have to give to the potential guys, project looks okay, but can you make it more finer, realistic, and see what value can be created, right?
There has to be a differentiator. Anything, okay, because there is a lot of competition that has been happening, right? And which is obvious, right? Everybody, whoever sees there is, in one source, the money has been coming. So everybody wants to jump into it and try to make some money out of that, right? Be it delivery app, be it an hotel business or anything of that, right? But what is the differentiator? How you can attract your customers? That is very important, because unless there is no differentiator, what is the value you are being creating as an entrepreneur, coming into the market, which is, if somebody is been making pen, okay, so the other competitor is also making pen, right? How your pen is different than the other?
Yeah.
Is it a value difference? Is it a quality difference? Or what exactly the difference is, that the customer should buy your thing and not others? So that differentiator is very important. I agree with Amir, and then that has to be marketed well. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
It has to be marketed, and that reach has to be there, and it has to be an adoption in your target area. Then only it can become successful. Yeah.
Just to add what he said, sorry, right? It's, to get into business, you should have the skills, not only the dreams.
Yes.
So,
We can sit and create, we are all our brains, right? We can create something, but will it be impacted to the things? And being an ESG expert, environment, social governance, right? What are you creating for economy? Are you creating a future after 10 years? What you're giving something to the next generation, right? Is it something you're giving value, or you're telling them, fight your own things, like the delivery app, 100 bob, 50 bob, free bob, 30% discount.
it has to be realistic. The idea has to be realistic, and having an idea is one thing, and executing is another thing. The success depends equally on execution as well. Like having an idea is just one part of it. and execution is another, and where the teamwork also comes, as you both were emphasizing
I think
that team is very important there, because for execution you need the team, and the team must believe in you and your idea, otherwise it cannot happen.
true. And I think that's what I brought it earlier as well, Ananya, that any of the entrepreneur who's been starting, he's having a team. So it has to be an experienced team, not just passionate. Yes, that is one thing which is very much needed. You need to have that passion in order to make that thing happen. However, you need to have that experience as well. What if things fail? How we will be able to manage that failure. That is very important. So those that can only come through an experience, because unless you haven't failed, you won't be able to make that to the success, right? So those are certain things that's very important. That experience, what Amir is mentioning, you cannot just get up in the morning and say, okay, I'm going to invent a wheel. That's not the thing. So you have to do a thorough study, you have to do a market research, and you need to come up with the technology, what you are going to bring it across, and the most important, how it is gonna sustain in the longer run, what would be the revenue model. Those are important things that the entrepreneurs or the investor needs to think into before getting into any of the idea that has been coming in.
Yeah, and I think for the investors, when they go through a pitch deck,
Yes.
from my experience, I have seen that it is very, very important. They really give a lot of importance to the team that they have, the founders, the profile of the founders, and the team. So another point I would like to ask Arun and Aalok, you both as tech experts, that we talk a lot about AI, and AI definitely is integrated part of our life by now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in technology, we all are talking about AI enabled, AI empowered, those kind of things. But AI comes with a big cost. So I'm curious to ask you both, because we have some these mentees at the same time. I have some clients who are in the process of making it AI enabled, and AI making it AI enabled is expensive, and whether Kenyan economy can support that is another question. So I would like to come to you first, Arun, and then to Alok, of course.
Yeah, I mean it's a question that you've directed to me, which it rings home, because this is what exactly we do at White Clay. Um, and very relevant. We have talked about hype cycles, we have talked about value creation, and this is another moment in technology where there are certain forces who are trying to take the value away from certain markets, because uh, these models or these AI tools that you talk about, they are all casted in in the tier one markets, already tried, tested, benchmarked, and now it's they're pushing it down the throat of tier 2 and tier 3 markets to come and subscribe. And but here is my take on it. There is no rocket science in this. It can be very much done locally here. So what I yesterday I was speaking at Computer Society of Kenya, at an event they had organized on AI, and the regulations and the governance in required for managing AI in Mombasa. So the key topic that kept coming back and back is that people are already using a lot of it, through likes of OpenAI or DeepSeek Carbon or whatever. There's so many apps available. This Perplexity and so these. So what is the cost that you're paying to it? You are giving away your crucial data. So one of the topics that I was talking about was that don't haste yourself into these things. Fundamentals needs to be fixed first. We need to get control of data sovereignty is going to be extremely important. So you should make sure that how you're ring fencing your data is should be your top priority as any organization. So bring that into your scope, put tight governance frameworks, and then from there use the machine learning models are all there. You can just pull anyone out and train this data which is local to you, and make these models understand your data, and then you create your automation tools, which is nothing but AI, whatever people call it, whatever name people can call it. they like to call it AI, is fine. But at the end of the day, what it is giving you is automation. I I personally don't like calling artificial intelligence because I don't feel that intelligence can be artificial. Actionable intelligence is what can be derived at the end of the day using. And my take is that people should focus, enterprises in Africa, in the entire global south, should be focusing on developing their own models, their own local AI solutions, training using using the models, by training the models on their data, which is relevant to their market there, and then create more realistic solutions that can solve local problems, rather than using a model that was trained. It's like the ride hailing apps that we talked about. Eventually 10 years down the line, again we will sit and have a conversation saying that no major problem was solved, but a lot of innovation was.
Yeah, and as you are saying data protection, I am myself very worried about it. A small example, nowadays, whenever you are having online meetings like Zoom, Team, or wherever you are having, automatically everyone's this AI note taker gets activated, and without taking permission from the other members of the meeting, which is actually against data protection law. You must take formal permission before activating your note taker. You cannot take just like that. Like if you are recording the meeting, you take permission. Similarly, way you have to take permission for the note taker. No one does it. So this is one area, as you rightly touched upon, and I'm myself very concerned, because data protection is a big issue, and maybe after a point that will become a bigger issue than the advantages we get out of AI. If we are indiscriminate, that will become one.
Look at how look at the ignorance of us as people, as consumers, that we have ignored completely. Some multi-trillion-dollar companies today in the tech space are existing there because they have feasted on our data.
But just to add, tomorrow if the data is lost, we are not being compensated. Somebody's paying somebody else outside, right? Yeah. Right.
So coming back to the AI, Alok, I would like to again ask you that as every technology now, I mean, and probably the customer's expectation or the investor's expectation is also like that. Is it AI enabled? Is it AI empowered?
Yeah.
So what is your take on that?
Yeah, no, I think I have a partial contradict answer to what Arun has mentioned. The reason I would say partial. One, yes, I would agree. It's an actionable intelligence. That's in line with you. However, um, the thing is, if you would see all this information which has been coming to us, and it is becoming so handy and easy in today's world, uh, it is creating an dependency, as well as it is also creating my work, you know, in lesser period of time what it used to happen earlier. If at all, I would say, um, yesterday, if I have to use some of the reports, which was been taking like 3 hours or 4 hours of my time in an Excel, but when I enable that, or when I give that feed to AI, it is giving me an output within few seconds. So which means my productivity is increased, and it is giving me more time to think and do.
Yeah, the utility.
Is more exactly.
No, the utility of AI is unquestionably there. We are not denying that. But I think what I'm trying to say, and Arun probably understood what I'm trying to say, is that in every idea or every technology that is prevailing or getting developed, now there is an expectation that it has to be AI empowered. Yes. Or AI enabled. Yes. So, but that comes with a cost. Naturally, that cost will pass on to the customer. So, in the context of Kenyan economy, I'm trying to say that is it always worth, like for bigger projects which is targeted for tier 1 consumers, I have no issue. Yeah. I mean, it is undoubtedly that it should be AI enabled, AI empowered, no doubt. But for people who are targeting middle or larger enterprise in the tier 2, so for them, is it will it be really viable, at least at the current situation, to go just jump on AI, and then if they jump on AI to make it AI enabled, then the cost becomes higher. Then they have to increase the price. If they cannot do that, then the project will automatically go on loss. So from that perspective, I'm asking you.
Yeah, so I would like to answer that. Again, Ananya, that comes from a learning. Okay. So what I would extend upon is, it is very much important to people to understand what is needed and what learning they can, take out of it. Investing in AI is definitely, because if you would see the recent market research, okay, and we at KPMG, we do an CEO outlook, which is like where we get the information from more than 10,000 C-level executives across the globe, and we try to get the input. In all of our survey from the C-level, 98%, 98, I'm making that statement. 98% of this C-level executives are saying AI is the way to go. It is going to help their organization to do better things what they could have missed. Okay. Now coming to your question, how viable it is, right? That is what you have been asking.
That's what I
Yeah. So, it definitely it's gonna be viable, because, in my view, that has to start from an university level. If you would see recently, and it is just yesterday's news, in my view, it is important that government should think about it and start giving that learning in the universities. So when these guys are coming out in the market, they are well educated about the AI and they are giving the right guidance. And it is becoming economical rather than getting that particular expertise from foreign.
Yeah, that is a key point. I think right now in Kenya, probably Arun, we do not have that kind of infrastructure that everything can be homegrown if you want to make your project AI enabled.
Yeah.
And that is where the cost increases.
Exactly. So this is again, I mean, from we interact with a lot of tech companies. Yeah, a lot of tech companies are using our services. Uh, the thing that I've always said that there is a certain hype that has been created. They need to get a little bit more realistic. Now, I'll go on to those. I'm a big fan of Steve Jobs. Whenever I feel like these kind of things happening, I just quietly go and listen some of his talks, and he has really sat down some of these things in the past itself. The talk. Yeah. So AI is in that phase, and there is no rocket science. Let me tell you, machine learning models are in plenty. There is a lot of data that is being generated. What an AI system or what an AI does is that it is learning from patterns. It is picking on from whatever has been taught to it by these machine learning models over a period of time, and then it has automated it. Then once you have perfected a model, you can go and place it in any kind of scenario. It will give it will churn the same output for you. Yes, right. So it's like a bot. It's like a bot. That's it. It's a robot basically, but now it's in digital format, right? So people should get to that granularity of what exactly is AI. You know, whatever we are seeing and believing to.
In some form, AI was there always.
Yes, it is generic AI. I mean, if you tell me to crunch, if I tell OpenAI to crunch an Excel sheet, it's generic AI. I mean, there is no rocket science in it at all. So and there is the most fundamental machine learning can do it. In just a matter of a few attempts, of learning, you reinforce learning, you can actually get that thing to work and give you beautiful results. Deep sea carbon was a perfect reply to what OpenAI did. Whatever hype they created, they came with a small needle and they just punctured the entire balloon. So that's why I'm saying we should be very. And now, if you look at it, every country is in a race suddenly to build its own ecosystem that will nurture its own AI. Reason being is, again, I am coming back, it's data sovereignty. What is going to be important is data. There are some fundamental concepts, around chunking, around how this data is, broken down into pieces, how it is analyzed, where it is analyzed. Of course, at the end of the day, everything is mathematics. There's nothing, nobody's seeing, but somebody is owning that data. You are uploading a Word document. Recently in Singapore, a case happened where someone asked for a legal feedback from OpenAI, I guess, because Sam Altman was the one who was subpoenaed later. About a divorce case, about a legal document that he received, and somebody else was looking for a divorce contract, and apparently the same thing got downloaded there.
Yes.
And it was a total, it was a brutal violation of privacy. So things can happen. Okay, I mean, the chances of something like that happening might be extremely low, but it can happen. So that is why data sovereignty is very important. Machine learning models are in plenty. Universities have the capability, have the capacity. You only need, I call them pizza boxes, the normal servers. You need the industry to basically come and support a few pizza boxes to a few good universities, and these models can be trained on there on those servers. There's no fancy GPU required. There's no fancy things required. Most 90% of the problems related to machine learning, building an AI can be solved using this cheap infrastructure. So I think there's a lot of a bubble that has been created. Reason being, there's a lot of money that has been put into it.
Yes.
In the past, I don't know if you have been following some of these research. We follow very closely. Trillions of dollars have been invested and zero results have been seen. I can tell you from practical application that a problem as simple as image recognition is still unsolvable by. And one of the reasons why I'm saying this is because Indian Prime Minister went on stage and said it. If I write something with my right hand and I ask how will I write it with my left hand, AI will not be able to solve that problem. If I ask it to draw a picture, it will not be able to solve the problem. So something as simple as a contextual analysis has not been solved yet. So we are still very far from what people are claiming that they can do. If that was the case, then a lot of problems in health sector would have been solved. I think they are one of the people who have been championing this for the oldest period of time, even before this has been commercialized or whatever.
No, but that is happening. It is getting used in the health sector.
Yeah, I mean, COVID is a great example. No, we took all this time for
AI was not there.
No, now in health sector it is getting used, and they're saying it can revolutionize.
But they have been working on it quietly. I'll not.
Yeah.
I'm saying the commercial approach that has been taken, or the commercial angle that has been given all of a sudden, is something which has really put it on steroids. Like adoption,
The boosting, just boosting.
but otherwise industry has been using it quietly. Medical companies have always been, I mean, high performance computing has always been in the pharma industry, in the drug administration industry, in a lot of the automobile industry. They have been using high performance computing, for the reasons of training better models, understanding, better design fundamentals, doing a lot of crash testing, stress testing, on these models before you can, start colliding vehicles with a static wall or something. So a lot of such things have been happening. It's just that suddenly some guy came from somewhere and he put some booster rockets on these things and just let it go into the public domain.
Yeah, actually, what happened is, as you were saying, that because of the OpenAI, all of a sudden we got exposed to something that was very user friendly and made our life a little easier. So the hype is there, but I think we have to take a balanced view, and we have to be cautious and rationalize it. For the tech projects, why I brought the AI subject, because for AI we will probably do one or even more roundtables in future. But for the tech projects, the tech founders, should not be paranoid about it that I need to be in AI enabled system right now, as you were mentioning, take a rational and baby step. And but at the same time, as you were saying, that we should be in the innovation mode, and we should keep updated ourselves, and wherever it is possible, take advantage of the AI, and not only AI, any latest technology or any latest innovation that is coming, we must be updated, because for technology it is very important and change is constant, as you referred, and we all agree to it. And with that, I would like to end this session of Roundtable. And thank you, Amir. Thanks, Alok, and thanks, Arun, for this wonderful conversation. I'm sure our viewers will appreciate it. Thank you.